Hey everyone. Been a while since we've been outside. It's been raining more or less continuously. I don't know if we've had a 24-hour period in the last month, maybe one, where it hasn't rained. So the pigs have been hiding indoors. Everything's muddy. The piglets have gone to new homes except for this one that you see back behind there. There you go. That's a barrow. That's the remaining one of the piglets. This is Hooligan here. She's just had like a growth spurt. So you can see that compared to the two new boars there, she's like getting pretty big. It's the second cohort there, the spotty orange ones. So the teeny boppers who have, in many cases, had one or two babies and dropped them off. Hey, mister. You're the eaten pig. Yeah. So he's the one that's stayed from the last group. This is Knox here. And here's a swarm of babies. There are a total of 11 babies right now. Knox had 7. One of the second cohort had 2. UV back there had 1, and someone else had 1. You could just tell by where they were and how they were spaced out that they were kind of being dropped off. That's the difference between, that's an 8-week difference between the new piglets and an older piglet. And today we have mini donuts. These are leftover stale donuts that we're just going to throw into the pigs and see what happens. They know eggs. Like when I throw eggs in, they know what to do with those. But they don't necessarily know what mini donuts are at this point. They don't really come into the house much. There you go, miss. Eat one. Putting out lots of calories right now. You need some in ya. Everyone's very chill at the moment. Oh, there we go. That's Rapunzel there, who has the one baby left. She really didn't lose much weight, but she only had 4 little ones, so that makes sense. There's baby. Definitely the biggest I have right now. Oh, he's being very polite to the hooligan there. Last one. Knox. Oh. New boar. So these are the 2 new boars. One of them is going to go to a new home. So I still have to make up my mind between the 2 of them. There's a bunch of stuff that you look at when you're trying to decide whether to keep a boar. How their legs are, how their neck is. How their body is, how their underside looks, because then they'll pass that on to breeding sows in the future. It's a big decision because like one sow, a sow will have a bunch of different sows. They have different babies. I can keep babies or not from them, but once I keep a boar, then I'm kind of locking everything that boar has into my line. So I'm like going back and forth on it a lot. There's Penny, who is still molting, so she's not purple and black right now. She's spotted right now, just like all her babies. The second cohort is mostly Penny babies, so those two, you can see, there's her. Everyone's just wandering around. There's Apricot back there. Hey, Apricot. Another one of Penny's babies. Penny just is a good-looking girl, so. Hey, Pen Pen. Oh, there they go. There's some babies. We all like babies. You'll notice there's so there's some pretty big babies there. They're round and grunty. And these two babies here are the most recent. And they have to compete for milk, so it's not the best. The little orange one is not doing well. I may end up giving him some antibiotics. See if that makes a difference, because he's just not getting fat. It could be that he's not competing well, and it could be that he just didn't get colostrum when he was born. I don't know, like he's still able to run around fine, but he just does not look good. This little one in front is the other new one. You'll notice he has an orange head and a white body. And he needs to be, oh no, that's not him. That's like a little girl. Anyhow, there's one like that needs to be castrated. And then the orange one needs to be castrated, but I just don't like his looks, so I don't want to do that. Hey, UV. Hey, UV. She's definitely got some good instincts around staying with the babies. Oh, little one. So much grunting. And then over here, we have the goslings, believe it or not. You're looking at the oldest goslings there. Right in front here is one of them. Hi. Hi, beautiful. There's another one. Actually a baby. Amazing. That one too. They're growing up so much. This one is so beautiful. You can tell it has some brown Chinese. And so it has that beautiful stripe down its back of its neck. And then it has otherwise pilgrim coloring, which is beautiful. Actually, maybe that one too. Anyhow, lovely. Lovely goslings. Yeah, lots of rain. Here are the feral ducklings that I think we saw like when they were 1 day old or something. They very rarely come in to eat feed. She mostly keeps them out in the long grass in the back field. And I think they just catch bugs and salvage or scavenge. I was distracted by the one piglet being out. Oh, hey ducklings, you're being cute. They're very cute. They're very well mothered. Those are the ones that were hatched out under the snowblower. So one of the benefits to having more rain is that I got to get most of the poop off the driveway and put it in the spots in my garden that I'm going to grow in next year. The rain has also given us, look at all these apples. And lots of apples on this half of the tree. Not so many on that half, but that is the half that has been really damaged by geese and bears and whatever else. Luckily not too much. This big growth here, long like that, that's a problem. But there's not too much of it on this tree, despite the fact that normally what happens is you cut a tree back hard like that and it grows up lots of those really long shoots, and then you kind of have a battle trying to reduce the energy, because apples don't grow on those long shoots, they grow on little short shoots. But it seems to be fine. Here's Silver, the Muscovy, who's just been so muddy this whole time. I try and keep like clean places for them to bathe, and she just isn't. I don't know. She's always had kind of rough feathers. This is we're walking through what's going to be my wood shelter for the winter. I kept the wood in the carport before, in there on the house, and it just gets mice in it and it gets really messy, so I'm going to keep it out here this time and have the snowblower be able to go in there too. So I need to finish bracing up the bottom. You can see it's not entirely level, so I need to anchor those on something that's taller. Potatoes are doing marvelously, really well. Not flowering yet, but they're big. I need to hill them up with some straw so that if there are potatoes forming, they don't get exposed to light on the surface. The straw will protect them from that. Oh, and actually this is very exciting. I haven't been down in the berry patch for a while. You will notice I did not get all of my potatoes planted. It's too late for that now. But down here, some of my hascats actually have berries on them. That one does. My fingers are covered with powdered sugar, so I don't want to touch too many things. But I think a couple of these ones, oh yeah. This one has berries on it. It's hard to tell from the top because they really do keep their berries underneath their leaves. And I think it was this one. There were a couple anyhow. I'm just gonna, powdered sugar, it's gonna attract ants or something. There are also a couple of cherries on my sour cherry bushes. There's another huskat bush. No berries. Anyhow, some of them do, which is really neat. I wasn't expecting it when they're this young. It's squash isn't doing much because it's being super cold. The potatoes are doing a lot, but again, they need hilling up, or deep mulching, I guess. And this whole area needs to be covered in cardboard, and ideally before the fall I would cover it in cardboard and manure, like bedding from the chicken coop and stuff. And then it'll break down over the winter and come out again, or be ready to plant in the spring. And the squash is just not doing much. It's been so cold. We're supposed to get heat now, but we'll see. We'll see if it's too late. This is a bit of poop I put down in the spring, and you can see how nothing is growing there. So this year, when I cleaned the driveway, I just put it all at the edges of the beds so the grass wouldn't travel into the beds. And you can see it's getting like this green algae on it. It's not super pleasant, but it will be good for the soil over time. And it just seals the edges of the beds. Ah, flies. They will help break that down. Avalu has found somewhere to be very muddy, which is unlike him. Right, puppy? You don't like being muddy. You don't like being muddy. Yeah, do you need petting? Yeah. He doesn't like that I'm doing field days at work. He thinks I should stay here and be with him. There's some little raspberries in there. They'll be hard to find. Here are some. Not very big yet, but they exist, which is good. These raspberries here that are like super dense and tall are the variety Anne. They're a yellow raspberry. These ones are some red ones that flower on last year's wood. And inside here, there are some raspberries that flower on this year's wood. It should be slower. Oof. Climbing over this fence. I've been taking out buckets of lamb's quarters for the pigs and the birds. They really like it. So my beets and turnips are more or less clear here. It's another little row of lamb's quarters. My peas are, this is chest height, and they're just starting to flower. It's been so cold, but they're getting a lot of flowers on them, which is good. I'm going to somehow have to weed out around them without pulling out the vines. Beans are just, they're so slow. Everything is slow because it's just been so cold. Gonna need to, well, there we go. The turnips are starting to bulb up. You see that? I'm gonna have to thin them. And then with the ones that I thin out, I'm going to pickle them and see how that works. Because pickled turnips seem like a good idea. Pickled turnip leaves particularly are tasty in a lot of dishes. Cabbages are just hanging out, doing their thing. These are my beans, and actually this is super neat. So, see, they're on the right, they're way bigger. On the left, they're smaller and more compact. These are two different varieties. These are my beans for drying, like for black beans, these ones, and pinto beans. And the first ones to sprout were the pinto beans here. And you can see that they're very compact. Like the distance between the leaves is very small. They look like quite small plants. They're kind of a bit yellowy. They haven't been super thrilled with this weather. Not that anyone has. Well, I'm not evacuating for forest fires, so that's something. But then here, there's like such a big distance between the leaves. There, it's a short distance between the leaves. So we'll see if these, what the plants end up looking like. They're supposed to both be kind of a bushy plant. And I'm hoping that they will in fact be bushy and not want to climb something. Because if they want to climb something, I don't really have anything for them to climb. And it'll be a mess. Little zucchinis that are just hanging out waiting for it to get warm, which it is supposed to do this week. It's supposed to be warm. Here's the potatoes from this side. And you can see those peas, for soup peas down there. They're slow too. But they're also shaded by the potatoes, which isn't great. I thought they would be a little bit faster than the potatoes, but they are not. So that might just be a learning experience for me. My little miniature corn needs to be weeded again, as you see. But it's trying to tassel, which is cute. Look, there's like little tiny, wanting to make ears, wanting to tassel. I don't know that there's enough pollen. Like, I'm gonna try hand pollinating what I can, but there's just not a lot of pollen going on here. And there's been so much rain that I don't think it's gonna pollinate itself. Next year I need to plant them way closer because they're just tiny, tiny plants. And see if I can get that to work. There's my borage, which is flowering. This is a, it's a plant that tastes like cucumber. And the flowers are really nice in salads. This is one of my favorite tomatoes, which is apparently starting to flower out here. Oh, there's even a baby tomatoes on it. This is silvery fir tree. You can see it has this like ferny kind of fine foliage. Doesn't need any support. It takes care of itself really well. And there's another silvery fir tree over here. We were just looking at the squash. And everything needs weeding. Right here, again, the silvery fir tree has its nice little baby tomatoes and a bunch of flowers. It's fairly self-supporting. This was just some like extra tomatoes that I threw in. See how they do. And at some point this thicket of raspberries will start producing. There, you can see they have some berries there, and I'll have to go through and kind of thin them out. I had meant to dig these up this spring before they started doing anything and move them over to that patch over there. Oh, that's a piglet. What are you eating, piglet? Hey, piglet, I'm scary. What are you eating? Oh, and these beans are not doing much, as you see. Some lettuce is doing well. And my Brussels sprouts are doing really well, actually. They're beautiful plants. Quinoa is pissed off, as you see. It doesn't like all this water. Hey! Hey, Piggo! What you eating? Who knows? Who knows? My little baby rhubarbs have started growing really big. Well, comparatively big. Like, Their old leaves were this size and their new leaves are this size. Now that I've started dumping the goose water on them, so they're into that. Got a bunch of mint. A couple Hascap plants through here. There are also a bunch of toads in here, which is super neat. Someday we'll see them when I'm walking through. This is Sweet Cicely. Tastes like black licorice. I candied those seeds and they're so good. So good. But you have to like black licorice. But I do. This is just like trying to wade through here. I need to harvest more rhubarb, put it in jars. This is comfrey. Again, edible flowers. It's that time of year. But it's supposed to be a very healing herb. I honestly just put the flowers in my salads and things. Okay, and now we're finally getting warm days in here. What does that mean? It's a good question. It means that the tomatoes are growing. I haven't been in here for 48 hours, and these guys they just get wrapped around and around the string. You can see some of them have really, there we go. They can put on a lot of height in a day. Got some nice tomatoes. You can see where they stalled out because there are those green tomatoes that are pretty big, and then the next thing is flowers. And kale in the back corner. It's just amazing to me looking at, ooh, what's this down here? Peas. Let's eat a pea. Amazing to me how, like on this side, like these ones here were planted a week or two earlier than these ones. Look at the difference. Amazing. Lettuce is gonna flower, I think. Which isn't enormously great. If it goes to seed and then there are lettuce seeds all over and they start to come up in the spring as weeds with my lamb's quarters, I'm okay with that. It's a nice size on those little tomatoes. JD Special, I'm excited. Those are the black ones. Black tomatoes are the best in sandwiches. Beets are sizing up a little bit. Everything's being a little bit protected from the ravages of the rain in here. It does mean I need to remember to keep watering it. So yeah, been a while, but things keep going. Oh, that's super neat. Huh. Oh. What this looks like to me is like a mustard weed crossed with broccoli somehow. I am actually going to put this in my mouth and taste it. It might be really terrible. Tastes like a wild mustard weed. All those things cross-pollinate. These orange ones are bok choy that went to seed. And I'm just going to let them seed themselves. Again, get some more diversity in my weeds. Oh, yeah. Everything's doing all right. Ish. We're all hanging in here, and it's supposed to get sunny soon. That's what they say. Anyhow, you have a good afternoon.